Have you ever felt a quiet shift in someone you love, but you couldn't explain why? Maybe she suddenly seems far away, even when she's sitting right beside you. Maybe her smile looks the same, yet something in her energy feels different. You tell yourself you're overthinking. You don't want to believe anything is wrong. But a small part of you wonders, is she pulling away from me or toward someone else? I'm Dr. Rosalia Viterbo, and if you're noticing changes that make you uneasy, you're not alone. Many men sense the shift long before anything actually happens. They feel it in her tone, in her silence, in the way her attention no longer lands on them, but they don't know how to interpret the signs, so they ignore them, hoping the feeling disappears. The truth is simple. Emotional distance rarely shows up without a reason. And when a woman is preparing to cross a boundary, emotionally or physically, her behavior usually changes in subtle, predictable ways. Not because she wants to hurt you, but because something inside her is searching for connection, validation, or escape. Today, I'll walk you through the early signals most men miss. These are not about spying, controlling, or assuming the worst. They're about understanding human behavior, protecting your emotional health, and knowing when a relationship needs attention before it's too late. If you've ever felt confused, rejected, or suddenly not enough, stay with me. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what patterns to look for and what they really mean. Let's begin. When a relationship starts to shift, it rarely happens all at once. It's usually small, almost invisible at first. A change in tone, a shorter reply, a little less warmth in the way she looks at you. Most men notice these things, but they brush them aside because they don't want to sound insecure or suspicious. And I understand that. No one wants to feel like they're doubting the person they love. But emotional distance is like fatigue or stress. Your body senses it long before your mind catches up. You feel disconnected even when nothing obvious has happened. You sense a drop in intimacy, but you can't quite name it, and that confusion becomes its own kind of pain. Why does this matter so much? Because cheating rarely starts with the act. It begins with unmet needs, unspoken frustrations, or emotional loneliness. Sometimes it begins with curiosity. Sometimes it's a search for validation or excitement after a long period of routine. It's rarely about you not being good enough. It's usually about her own inner struggles, stress, or unresolved emotions. But here's the challenge. Women often communicate emotional dissatisfaction differently than men expect. Instead of saying, "I feel disconnected," she might become distant. Instead of saying, "I need more attention," she might suddenly invest her attention elsewhere. And those shifts can be so subtle that by the time a man realizes something is wrong, the emotional gap is already wide. Have you ever wondered why something felt off, even though everything looked fine on the surface? Or why her mood can change so quickly without a clear reason? These questions matter because ignoring the early signs doesn't protect the relationship. Understanding them does. This video isn't about blaming her or making you paranoid. It's about giving you clarity. When you recognize the patterns early, you can communicate better, strengthen the connection, and protect both your heart and your peace. Now let's break down the real signs, ones most men overlook until it's too late. Let's walk through the 6 signs that usually appear when a woman is emotionally drifting toward someone else. Remember, these signs don't automatically mean she's cheating. They mean something in the relationship needs attention. And noticing them early gives you a chance to respond with clarity, not fear. First, her emotional availability suddenly drops. A woman doesn't disconnect all at once. It happens slowly in waves. She becomes less curious about your day. She shares fewer details about hers. Conversations feel shorter, lighter, and less meaningful. If she once opened up easily but now keeps her feelings to herself, pay attention. Women often pull away emotionally before they pull away physically. It's a form of self-protection. It creates distance, and it clears space for someone else to fill the emotional gaps. Don't panic if you notice this, but don't ignore it either. Ask gentle, open questions. Show her you're still a safe place for honesty. Sometimes this alone brings her back. Second, she becomes unusually protective of her phone and devices. This is one of the strongest early indicators, not because her phone is evidence, but because secrecy reflects emotional tension. If she suddenly tilts her screen away from you, changes her password, or takes her phone everywhere, even to places she never did before, it suggests she's guarding something. Again, it doesn't mean she is cheating. It means something in her digital world has become emotionally important to her. Maybe she's talking to someone new. Maybe she's venting to a friend about something she's afraid to share with you. Maybe she's exploring validation elsewhere. Ask yourself, did this behavior appear suddenly, or is it part of her natural personality? Sudden changes usually signal emotional discomfort, and discomfort is worth exploring with calm, honest communication. Third, her attention shifts to her appearance in ways that feel out of character. Human beings crave to be noticed when they feel disconnected. So when a woman starts receiving attention from someone new, her appearance often becomes a focus, especially if she wasn't this invested before. She might dress differently. She might spend more time getting ready, even for simple errands. She might buy new clothes or experiment with a new style. These aren't bad behaviors. They're human. They often reflect a desire to feel attractive again, especially if she doesn't feel valued in the relationship. The important part isn't the behavior itself, but the timing. Did her sudden glow-up appear alongside emotional distance? That combination is meaningful. If you notice it, approach with gentleness, not accusation. Say something like, "I noticed you've been putting extra care into your look. You look beautiful. How are you feeling lately?" Affection can open doors that suspicion closes. Fourth, she becomes irritated or impatient over small things. When someone carries guilt or internal conflict, it often leaks out as irritability. She may seem frustrated more easily. She may comment on your habits more often. She may appear emotionally restless or dissatisfied. This isn't because she dislikes you. It's because she's fighting an internal battle, and the tension shows. Ask yourself, is she overwhelmed at work? Is she stressed at home? Is she facing burnout? Stress can mimic the same signs, so don't jump to conclusions. But if the irritability is paired with emotional distance, secrecy, and shifts in behavior, it's a sign the relationship dynamic needs attention. Try not to react defensively. Instead, stay grounded. Say something like, "You sound a bit overwhelmed. Is something on your mind?" This approach helps her open up instead of shutting down. Fifth, her social schedule changes and she prefers being away from home. When a woman is investing emotionally somewhere else, she often subconsciously creates more physical distance too. She may go out more often. She may spend longer hours running errands. She may say she needs space or time alone. Again, there are many innocent reasons for these changes, but secrecy combined with unpredictability is a pattern to pay attention to. The important question isn't, where is she going? It's, why didn't she include you? When a woman feels connected, she invites you into her world. When she feels disconnected or drawn elsewhere, she creates separate spaces. This doesn't mean you should monitor or control her. It means the relationship needs more emotional presence, communication, and shared experiences. Try to open the door gently. "I'd love to spend time with you. Let me know when you feel up for it." That approach tells her you care without pressure. Finally, she stops imagining a future with you. This is the deepest sign. It's not dramatic. It's quiet. It shows up in small moments. She stops talking about vacations. She avoids planning long-term commitments. She hesitates when you bring up shared goals. And she emotionally checks out from the idea of a shared life. When a woman begins emotionally connecting with someone else, she often stops investing in the story she shares with you, even if that story was once strong. But here's the hopeful truth. These signs also tell you exactly where the healing needs to happen. Connection can be rebuilt. Trust can be restored. But it starts with awareness. Not panic, not blame. You deserve clarity. You deserve stability. And understanding these signs is the first step toward protecting both your emotional health and your relationship. So let's take a moment to breathe and bring all of this together, because the goal here isn't to make you anxious. It's to help you understand what these signs truly mean, so you can respond with clarity and strength. We talked about 6 common shifts that appear when a woman is emotionally pulling away. Not all of them point to cheating, but all of them point to a change that deserves attention. First, you learned how emotional distance is usually the earliest signal. When she stops sharing her inner world, it's her way of telling you something feels off inside. It's not about blame. It's about noticing the way connection fades when it isn't being nurtured. Next, we explored the sudden need for privacy around her phone. This doesn't always mean she's hiding a relationship. Sometimes she's hiding her feelings. Sometimes she's hiding confusion. Either way, secrecy grows in the spaces where communication has weakened. We also talked about changes in appearance and effort. Humans naturally seek validation when connection feels uncertain. So when she invests more in how she looks, especially alongside emotional distance, it's worth paying attention with compassion, not suspicion. Then we looked at irritability and mood shifts. These emotional ripples often reflect internal conflict. She may be overwhelmed, guilty, or simply disconnected. Your calm presence gives her space to open up instead of shutting down. We also covered changes in her routine. Those new plans, late nights, or sudden hunger for independence. Sometimes people create physical distance to match emotional distance. Sometimes they're trying to escape an uncomfortable truth they haven't shared yet. And finally, we talked about the deepest shift, when she stops imagining a shared future. This is where emotional withdrawal becomes most visible. It's not loud, it's quiet, and it speaks volumes. But here's the most important part. None of these signs mean the relationship is over. They simply mean something needs care, attention, honest conversation. Always listen to your body's signals. Your intuition notices emotional patterns long before your mind does. Remember that your worth isn't defined by anyone else's confusion or behavior. You deserve connection, honesty, and love that feels secure. Now that you understand these signs, you're better equipped to protect your peace and strengthen your relationship with clarity, not fear. If these insights helped you understand your situation a little more clearly, I'm glad you stayed with me. Awareness is a form of self-care, and you've taken an important step simply by choosing to learn rather than guess. If you want more guidance on emotional health, relationships, and the subtle signals we often overlook, you're welcome to join me here. I create these videos to help you navigate the moments that feel confusing or heavy, and to give you calm, doctor-led clarity when your emotions feel loud. So if you found this helpful, consider subscribing. It supports this channel, and it ensures you don't miss future videos designed to help you protect your well-being, strengthen your connections, and understand the science behind human behavior. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Take care of your heart, take care of your health, and I'll see you next time.